Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Foliage. In today's video we are going to be talking about an extremely beautiful foliage plant called as the Anthurium. It is very popular among a lot of foliage collectors. Now this was sold to me as Anthurium magnificum, but I'm not very sure if that's the correct ID, but it is an Anthurium. Now all the Anthuriums have pretty much the same care. Now let's talk a little bit in detail. This plant comes from Colombia, but a lot of you guys will be having a lot of hybrids. Basically people have been creating a lot of hybrids of the Anthuriums because they look extremely beautiful. They all will look pretty much the same. The only difference is going to be with the petiole, with the shape of the leaves and the veins. So every Anthurium is going to have a very different vein design or the leaf structure or the petiole as well. So let's start with the light because that's the most important thing. Now remember guys, these plants will not do quite well in direct sunlight. Please do not offer them direct sunlight, otherwise they will get burnt. And the soil mix also tends to differ. Now you can make two different types of soil mix. The soil mix that I tend to make is a mix of coco peat, garden soil, sand and perlite because they prefer a very loose airy soil mix. Do not use only garden soil. The plant will not do quite well. Eventually the plant will start to die. So you have to be extremely careful. Now there are two types of soil mix, as I said. One I have already mentioned about mine. The second one is a soilless media. Basically it is a little expensive media, or I would say a little bit fancy media. So I do not use that media because for that you have to purchase each and every product. For example, you would require cocoa chips, perlite, pumice, sand, vermiculite, and there is one more thing, coco peat, of course, yes. So all of these, and they turn out to be quite expensive, so I prefer to use the same. So you can either go with a soil based media or you can go with a soilless media. In the second media that I mentioned with cocoa chips, you do not need to add any soil. They do well in both the growing media, but I am more preferring the economical way. So I only use coco peat, garden soil, sand and perlite. Pumice, if I have, I will do add. So that is about the soil mix. Now watering, again, they prefer a slight amount of moisture in the soil. Do not keep the soil soggy wet, otherwise they will get root rot. Ensure your container or pot has a drain hole so that the excess water can drain out. The moment you see around 1 to 2 inches of the soil is dry, go ahead and do a complete watering. As usual for foliage, during summers, their growing period, you have to increase the frequency of watering depending upon your environment and how soon your soil dries. And in winters, you'll have to reduce the watering. During summers, they are in the growing period, so you can go with any liquid based fertilizer and do it probably once every 20 days or once a month. It's absolutely okay. During winters, don't add any fertilizers and reduce the amount of watering. This plant is usually grown indoor because it prefers a good amount of humidity, because these are tropical plants. They prefer warmer environment and a good amount of humidity. If the humidity is low, you can see this is what's going to happen. The leaves will start to crisp. So in my place, as you all know, the humidity right now during summers is very low, due to which it's turning crisp. Even after misting the plant, very light misting, but still there is a little bit of crispiness on the leaves. This happens due to low humidity. Unfortunately, I can't grow them indoors, so I have to somehow manage it. Probably someday I will be able to grow them indoor, but as of now all the plants are outdoor. So ensure that you're giving them a good amount of humidity. Any humidity above 70% is going to work out really well. If your indoor environment is very dry, use a humidifier, or you can use a pebble tray method, or you can club other plants together. If you're keeping it indoor, ensure that the sun rays directly don't fall onto the leaves, but there is a good amount of light. Do not keep it under a air conditioning vent or a heater, otherwise that will damage the leaves. Now talking about propagation, the best way to propagate them is via the nod cuttings. Usually they tend to get nods, or you can do a stem separation. Now unfortunately my plant is very small. I do not have nods in between. During winters it was completely vanished from my pot, but now it has started to grow back, so I'm quite happy about it. So in some places, if the environment is very cold, it is better you move it indoor. If you're going to keep it outdoor, most probably it will not do quite well. So only guys, if you are able to provide the right conditions, only then get this plant. Even though the plant looks very beautiful, a lot of people get tempted to buy it, and if you do not have the right conditions, then the plant is not going to do quite well. So you have to ensure that you do a little bit of research before buying a plant. Remember, I spoke about caletheas as well. A lot of people buy caletheas without much knowledge, and later on they realize that the care tips are something that they are not able to provide, and then the plant gets damaged. Same thing goes with this. If you are from a very hot dry environment, then this plant will not do quite well outdoor. You will have to grow it indoor. Plus indoor there has to be a good amount of indirect bright light. So if you are from a coastal area wherein the humidity is very high, this plant is the most easiest plant to grow. But if you are from a place wherein it is very dry, it's very warm, then it's going to be equally difficult for you to grow this plant. So be extremely careful. Do a little bit of research before you buy any kind of plant, especially foliage plants. Most of them are tropical environment plants. They prefer a warmer environment with lot of humidity. So ensure that you are keeping all of these things in mind. Pest issues, yes, they do get affected with spider mites. So always turn the leaves and check if there are any issues. If you tend to see any spider mites, go for any organic solution that you have been using. You'll also tend to see a lot of spots or patches of yellow patches that indicates that there is something beneath the leaves. So always do a routine check once in 2 weeks or once in 3 weeks. Talking about, is this plant toxic? Yes, they are toxic. So ensure that you're keeping this plant away from the reach of small children and pets. Apart from that, as I said, if you are from a very humid environment, this is going to be one of the most easiest plant for you. But if you're from a dry environment, it is going to be a very challenging thing. You have to have a proper setup in order to grow anthuriums. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. And if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep propagating.